Talking Budo, Introduction to Kanji, How Radicals Work. Remember these guys? Mouth, water, tree, person, hand, and heart. Let's make some characters out of them. Mouth. With the first kanji, you see a mouth with 4 lines coming out of it. Now, use your imagination here. This could be somebody throwing up or getting their teeth knocked out, but actually this is the character for say or speak. This one also has the mouth in it, and this one means name. This one means old. This one means to fit or join. Look at it as a mouth under a roof. When you have 3 mouths together, these are goods. In other words, things that you would buy. This one means scream. Now, if you'll recall, in an earlier lesson, I talked about how the Japanese borrowed characters from Chinese, and in some cases, the meanings in Japanese are not the same as the original Chinese. This is an example of one of those characters. In Japanese, it primarily means to scream, but in Chinese, when it's pronounced jiao, it means to be called. So, in other words, if you want to ask someone, what is your name, you would ask them, what name are you called? 你叫什么名字? This is just one of many examples of how the Japanese adopted kanji from China and didn't necessarily use the original meanings. This one means right. Right as in right versus left. Imagine that you use your right hand to lift your fork to your mouth, and that should help you remember this one. This one means trust. You can see the character for a person standing next to what the person is saying, so to speak. So if you can stand by your word or stand by what you say, you're trustworthy. Water. In this case, water has different forms that it takes when it shows up as a radical, and I'm showing you both of them here. I'll show you examples of how the different radicals are used in different characters as we go through this section. Soup or juice. Can you see it looks like there are little droplets of water on the left-hand side? Ocean. Again, if you see on the left, you can see the droplets of water. The character on the right means every, so you could almost think of it like this is the source of every drop of water, the ocean. Some of you are going to love this one. This is the character for alcohol, sake. It's not sake with an I, it's sake. The character for west is on the right, and then you see the 3 water droplets on the left. This literally looks like a bottle of sake with like liquid perspiration dripping down the side. This should be a very easy one to remember. And I remember when I first got to Japan that this was one of the characters that I really didn't have to look up. I saw it and it just kind of said, hey, this is what I mean. It's a very cool character. This one means cry. The character to the right means to stand. And if someone is standing and you see water coming off of their face, they're crying. Easy to remember. Now, let's look at water in its different form as a radical. This one means ice. It's the same as the water character, but with one extra little tick in the upper left-hand corner. If we move that little tick and add another little line to it, we get the kanji for forever. Now, if we take that character and add the 3-dot water radical to the left, it means to swim. And if we add the character for white above the radical for water, we get the word for fountain or spring. Tree. If 1 tree is tree, then 2 trees is woods. If 2 trees is woods, then 3 trees is a forest. Now, if you use a line to mark the trunk of the tree, this means origin or root, but it's also commonly used to mean book. And since desks are made out of trees, sometimes, The tree radical, much like a lot of other radicals, are also used to denote different species of this thing. So in this case, this particular kanji means pine tree. In Japanese, this one means plum, but in Chinese and Korean, it's the name Lee, like Bruce Lee. Now, if you've studied martial arts for any degree of time, you've probably heard of this character, even though you may not have seen it. This one means supple or flexible, and it's pronounced Ju. Perhaps you've heard of Judo and Jujutsu. Finally, this is the kanji for cane. You'll see this in the arts Jodo and Jojutsu. Person. If you saw a person leaning up against a tree, what would you suspect that he or she was doing? Resting. When you have a person next to a tree, this means rest. If person is standing next to origin, it's referring to their body, as in the body is the root or the origin or the source of the person. This one means Buddha. It's also used to mean France. Look at this one as a person standing next to a key or holding a key. This one means to make. This is a very common kanji. It means to go. If you had to guess what this one means, what would you think? It means prisoner. Can you see the person surrounded on all four sides? This one means individual. If you look inside the box, you see the kanji for old. So it's old in a box next to a person. I have no idea how that's going to help you remember it, but it should help you to break down the pieces a little bit at least. And this one means to dwell or reside. Hand. This character means to push or press. This character means technique. You've probably seen this in places like suwariwaza, keriwaza, nagewaza. I like this character very much because it shows that you already know enough radicals to piece this together. Look on the lower right. You see the tree. Above the tree, you see goods. To the left, you see a hand. So if you're putting goods up into a tree, just bear with me, imagine this, you're manipulating them. This character means to manipulate. If you remember back to where I showed you the kanji for samurai, you'll recognize the temple on the right. Well, on the left, you have hand. So hand plus temple means you are holding something. Now, let's look at a different form of the radical for hand. This one shows up at the bottom of this character, and this one means to raise or cite. Raise as in raise an issue or cite a quotation from someone. You'll probably be more likely to see this character, however, in martial arts. Look at how close this is to cite. Very, very close. Just another line or two in there. This one means fist. You've probably heard it used in arts like Kempo. Now be careful, this ken is not the same as the ken in Kendo. Ken in Kendo is a different kanji. We'll talk about that some other time. I know what you're probably thinking. What the crap? Just bear with me on this. This is a very commonly used character in martial arts. You see the hand at the bottom. The upper right-hand corner, don't worry about yet. The upper left-hand corner is the character for car or some other axled vehicle. But together, this means to beat or to attack. And finally, this character means to carry or to take charge of something. See the hand in the middle hiding there? Heart. This character is composed of the radical for heart and another kanji that means to live. You've probably seen this in the word sensei. This one means sex, gender, or essential nature. It's used commonly in Japanese also as a suffix, like ity. For example, if you have kano, which means possible, kanose is possibility. Junan is flexible, but Junan-sei is flexibility. This one is the character for dai, as in to cease to live, and heart, and it means you're busy. Kind of foreboding, actually. This one means pleasant. This one means scary. Now, if you put the character for big inside of a box and put it on top of your heart, you get kindness. If you cross your heart, hope that I stick a needle in your eye, you are certain of something, or absolutely sure. You've probably seen this kanji, likely tattooed on the back of somebody's neck, unfortunately. It means love. Now, imagine having a sword held over your heart. That would be difficult to endure. Well, this character means to endure. It's also half of the word ninja. Next time, we'll take a look at some more radicals and how they function.